Hey guys, it's Kate and I'm back with another watercolor painting. Today I am doing this painting with the Mozart Kohlrabi palette that I have. I've got a little mixer here, I've got my water here, and a piece of cotton paper. So today I am going to be painting using a reference photo, and I'm going to keep it very loose and abstract looking. I am practicing values, so I chose a black and white photo landscape, and I'm going to colorize it myself based on what I imagine it looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the photo that I'm using as a reference up in the corner. It is from unsplash.com. You can feel free to download this photo and paint along with me if you like. So I'm going to start off by moistening my palette with my sprayer. And I just got these quill brushes from Temu of all places, and I did an unboxing video which probably is going to go up before this one. This is a synthetic number 5 size from Art Brush China, and I will be going in with this today and doing the landscape. So I have my reference photo off to the side, but I will post it on the screen for you to see. So I'm going to go in first, I think, with some yellow ochre. So I am going to treat this like a desert painting with some mountains in the background. So I'm going to kind of put some in my mixing palette here that I can dip into, and then come in here and do kind of a light wash. And drop in some of this darker color here, and I'm just going very loosely. I'm just blocking in the shapes as I see them, and this is just sort of an experiment. Now I'm going to go into my gray and put some of that over here. And I'm also going to get a blue. I think I will go with the deep blue here and have that to be a little bit of a desaturated color for the mountains. I'm going to come back in here, drop in some more of that blue color right there. I'm going to mop some of this excess up. This is a very wet brush. It holds a lot of water. Okay, make sure I'm still in the frame. All right. So for the sky, I'm going to come back in with this deep blue, turn this around a bit, and I am going to mix that and kind of tone it down with some of this white. That's pretty nice. I'm going to grab some more and get this nice and faded. Whoops. If I can manage to do that. Okay. Now the sky in the picture is pretty solid, but I'm going to leave room for some clouds. And this brush, I love that you can do fine lines as well as like just really nice washes. come in here and be pretty light over this sky area. All right, I'm going to come back in with this blue a little bit and pop in some extra marks. Whoops. And make it darker in the top. All right. Now, I'm going to go into my burnt umber. And I'm just going to leave that in the same one as the blue. Add some water. And then just a touch, let's see. Let's grab some Payne's Gray. I don't want to use just the black. I want to have some depth to the color. So the Payne's Gray will do the job. And that'll give that a nice richness. Okay. So now I'm going to come in here. Oh, that needs some more color. Maybe I will do black. Okay. In here just a little bit of this dark area here. Okay, go back in with some of this yellow. I'm going to come in here and start dropping in just some little areas here to give it some more interest. And I'm going to get pretty saturated up here toward the front. And then, whoops, let me get that up. That's a little bit too much. Lift this a bit. That is the nice thing about these. They do lift really nicely. I'm going to come in down here with a little bit of the sky color too. All right. And up here, I'm going to drop in a little bit of this ground color. Let me make sure that I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow to this. and start coming into these mountains here a bit. And I'm going real thin with my brush. That's sort of like that background horizon. Looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go in with this Payne's Gray. Actually, let me get the other, the other well. Okay, a little bit of this blue. That's nice. And I'm going to come in to the base. I'm going to get this a bit more differentiated from the sky. And I'm just kind of building up layers here. I'm going to come in with this brown and kind of dot that in, give it a little bit of texture. And maybe a little bit of this yellow ochre too. I want to make it just really pop. And I'm going to leave my shadows kind of over on this side, and maybe the sun is sort of behind there a bit. And I'm just going to let this blue kind of fade right into that. I'm going to go in with the yellow. I'm trying to keep kind of a limited palette here. And I'm trying to also keep it faded toward the back when you meet the mountain. But it also helps having sort of this blue area kind of bleeding into the foreground a little bit, because it kind of melds nicely with the mountain back there. Nice. So now I'm going to go in with some just straight burnt, not burnt umber, yellow ochre. And I'm going to drop in some more of this color up here. I really like this brush. It seems to do pretty well. And while this dries, I'm also going to work on the sky a little bit more. But first, I want to work on this foreground. Nice. Okay, I'm going to come in here with some more Payne's Gray and drop that in. Oops. And I really want these darks in here. But I'm going to have to go over that again once it dries. But I'm dropping in as many darks as I can. I want to really emphasize that this is like a craggy canyon of some kind. And a little bit more here. What do you think? Now I'm going to come in here with the white. Oh, what do you know? Looks like my brush is shedding a little bit. It's like a pet shedding. All right, I had a little bit of that yellow ochre just a tiny bit left in my mixing bowl, but that's okay. I'm gonna let this sky kind of take on some of that ground color. And I'm gonna go over it with the white and deepen it up a little bit. Just add a little hint of something from the ground, like that. I think those hairs are in there to stay. Who knew you could use so much white in watercolor? And this will kind of give it a little bit of a hint of sunshine maybe coming through from behind. And since this photo is black and white, that pretty much does the trick for me. And I really want to get this practice. I haven't really done much painting, you know, from a photograph. So this is kind of interesting, and I get to kind of keep it as loose as I like it. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back for another layer and really get these darks popping. Okay, we are back and mostly dry. So I'm going to go in now with my round brush. This is the number 4, and I'm going to get some of these smaller areas. So first I'm going to come in and get some of these darker areas even darker. I'm also going to go up to the sky, and I might grab the quill brush for that also to get a better wash on the sky. So I'm going to darken up the top, do some darkening on the bottom, and the shadows on the mountain over here. So I'm going to go in. I have some leftover blue here, but I'm going to dip my brush and I'm going to go into this Payne's Gray and get some in my mixing well. And I'm also going to go in to this deep blue and mix that. And then I'm going to get a little bit of this black and get a nice rich dark color. And I'm going to come in here and darken up this area here. And I'm just going to go around these sides. And I might even come in here for a little bit more black. And I'm just going to follow along with some of these areas that I've gotten already and deepen it up a bit. Like that. And not everywhere, but some of these places, there's some just very dark areas that I'm going to go over again. Got a piece of my cat. It must be the time of year for shedding. I swear, it's just everywhere. I'm going to get even more black in here in some of this center area. All right. I'm going to get some more of this deep blue straight from the pan and just kind of spread that around out here like that and let that blend. That way it's not just black. I really like having a little bit of that blue in there. I think that's a nice color. And come in here with some more of the black as well. Now that there is some contrast. All right, so I'm gonna go over here, get myself a new little mixing area, and come back into this burnt umber. Mix some of that up. And I'm gonna grab some of this deep blue that I have over here and kind of tone that brown down a bit. Okay. And then I'm going to come back in here. And these little light spots, I don't mind those. I'm going to keep them. It kind of gives some more highlight to the area, so that is fine with me. But I do want to make sure to get these shadowy parts of the mountain. And I'm going to soften up this edge here a little bit. And I'm going to come into the top with some of that extra blue that I had and sort of blend that a bit and darken up these sides. But I'm not going to go in with the umber. I'm sorry, the burnt umber. And so these can kind of bleed together a little bit. And you have that color transition, but it's not quite as stark. I'm going to do the same down here. And I'm going to give this mountain a little bit of definition, like some of the sides are kind of facing us so that there's some shadow here. And I'm just layering a bit so that we have some more interest. So now, like up top, I'm going to come in with my damp brush and just soften up that edge a little bit. Because I want it to have a nice blend in with the foreground a bit. Nice. Now I might take some of this brown and just kind of dot it in some spots down here. Just a little bit though. And add some shadow to the front. Like that. Nice. And I'm going to go straight into this yellow ochre again and give another layer up here. I want more saturation with the colors in some of the areas, especially where I have some of this darkness. I'm going to come in with some heavy pigment. And I'll tell you, layers are really magical. What do you think? I don't want to do too much. So I think that might be that for foreground. So I'm going to turn this over. I've got my quill brush back. I'm going to blot off some excess, and I'm going to pick up some of this blue that I had left over that I mixed. And I'm going to go straight across the top with this and give it a little wash, just to darken up that top some more. And I still want my clouds to show through a bit, but I'm definitely darkening the top, and maybe even some of this darker color still, and just use up that paint. And I rinsed my brush and dabbed it, so I'm gonna come and go over it and bring it down a little bit. And I'm gonna leave my brightness down here so that you can see the division between the mountain and the sky. And give it a couple little dabs here for some detail. And with that yellow, just a hint of the yellow, it almost looks like there might be some sun poking through, but I want it to be really in shadow. So I'm going to let this dry and then come back in, and that is going to be the finishing touch. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm dry all except for this little area right here, so I will just avoid that, and I'm going to be just working on this side now anyway. So I broke out an acrylic paint marker to do the fine detail of that little plant in front. So I'm going to place it, the bottom of it is above the mountain, kind of in the right third marker. So I'm going to come in and do a little boat to give myself the outline. And at the bottom of it, I'm just going to give myself a little marker. So I'm going to come out and do some of these little pieces. And they're kind of staggered and uneven. And I'm just going to keep moving here. And I'm not trying to get it too exact, but just so that you know what it is. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to put in one more right here and have it kind of cross over like that. I think that looks good. And then you just have the stalk kind of come straight down, and it's a little bit thick. I'm just going to kind of straighten it out a little bit, like that. And then each of these has a little doodad. What would you call them? just needed a little bit more of that. There we go. There. What do you think? I think we can call that done. And I really like how that turned out. It's not exactly like the photo, but I didn't want it to be. And actually, when I spent more time looking at the photo, turns out the light was coming in this way. So I made it come in that way and put the shadow on the whole side of the mountain here. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's kind of abstract-y, it's a nice little landscape, and really got to practice with values, and it's kind of cool working with a black and white photo when you can, you know, pop in some color where you think it belongs. So I think if I had to do this over, I know the mountain was a very light color based on the photo, but I made it a little bit darker. It was just a personal choice. I really like how these craggy edges and the little canyons kind of came out. So I'm really happy with this, and hopefully you were able to paint along with me today, and if not, maybe next time. But until the next video, keep creating.